So today, what do we do? What do we do last week? Jean-Philippe showed us the GraphQL queries, double queries. And the tweet I saw, I think, from Gabor was confusing because it was like, oh, there is GraphQL queries now in Orchard. Yeah, no, it's GraphQL queries. It's different. I think it's just a PR, not the PR yet. So, fluid updates, 1.0 status check, seeing what was preventing from shipping 1.0, almost nothing. I don't think there is anything else. Today, demos. We don't have the dean for the demos. Who has demos? No demos. Topics. There is the branding topic. Checking on the issue, there is a new vote. Demos, Dean, you have demos.
No, not tonight, sorry. I haven't got something built.
When do you bring the demos? We need the demos.
Well, we could look at filters again, but probably not till next week.
Filters. Did you see an almost related topic about filters? I saw that issues of .NET, which is cited by Imol and Worth. It's a Blazor side, Blazor server side, and it's just aggregating all the issues for .NET repositories, like 50 different repositories, and now you can search for all the issues super fast. And you see he created the same thing. He's trying to make the same syntax as GitHub, which I think he also followed. And this is done in memory because all the issues here, title and metadata, not body, are in memory, and then he's processing that to filter in memory. And that's what I saw from the comments and tweets and source code. Interesting,
yeah,
right?
Nice.
And based on the tag, they have different behavior, like some of them are ors, some of them are ands, like you said multiple times something.
I like the show query help. We should do that for my filters thing as well, because that's pretty much the syntax. But yeah, no, that would be nice.
So just mentioning that, and look at the speed. So if I remove help and I look, for instance, for as I type the letter, and it's all server side. So talk. It's super fast. And just for those who don't know how it works, it's using a WebSocket. So if I refresh, there's WebSocket here, and you can see the traffic. This is Blazor server side. It's the small amount of traffic which sends the delta of the DOM or the action and then delta. That's interesting. How it works. To see how it works. Good. Just related to topics. Okay. Status. Orchard 1. Nothing new. There are 2 PRs. There is the output cache PR discussion, and there is also a discussion. Oh, there's maybe something to talk about actually, because I'm commenting on that, but instead of waiting for a triage, let's see what people think about it, because I didn't see anyone else comment on the issue, on the PR actually. From Aaron. well, I say Aaron. I'm not sure. Ironan. So this PR is about creating a default GitHub workflow, something that will appear in Actions. A default GitHub workflow to deploy option 1 on Azure App Service. Okay, so super specific because it's just for App Service, Azure App Service, and it's a GitHub workflow, which means it's when you have your orchard source in GitHub and you want to use GitHub to deploy on App Service. And this PR creates deploy to Azure App Service YAML. Actually, it's not a default, yeah. So, and you see here, for instance, on push and branch main. Are we on branch main on this repository? By default. There is not even a main branch here. So this is very, it's more that it's weird, it's opinionated, but in a way like if your branch is main, this will deploy there, okay? So use main as the branch deploy. So whenever you push on main, it will do a deployment. So my concern with that is it's in the default repository and it's just for Azure App Service, fine, but it's in the default, like the default deploys on Azure App Service and targeting main. So it's really like, this is like mostly about his workflow and not a workflow like anyone would suppose will use. So this works, this is faster. So what I'm suggesting instead is to just create the file somewhere and document how to use the file and where to put it to and customize it to use it and not have it in the main repo such that anyone cloning it will have this workflow by default. So it's not obvious what to do with that. And it's very specific to a special deployment and CI workflow. So I'm not sure how reusable it is. So please comment if you think that's the way we should deploy all the things using GitHub on App Service with a main branch, or it should be an article describing how to use that and configure your own repository to deploy an App Service based on whatever logic you want there, a branch, a tag, no trigger, like just invoking manually, which I assume would be good also. So that's why I'm hesitant to have that by default in the main repo, because cloning will trigger that. I don't understand why it would be good. Even if it's blocked by, you need to have a specific property, it will still be triggered in this case.
Yeah, by default, that will still run as an action, and you have to do special customization to turn it off on your repository. So that, you know, that is one of the downsides of having actions in your actual code base.
Yep. So comment if you have an opinion. So Jasma, put a thumbs up. Thank you. Which thumb? It's a thumb. It's a left thumb. Okay. Matters. So just to comment on that, the rest is going on. Orchard.Core status. Not that much interesting. Two reasons for not that much actually. So 5, 11. So oh wait. It was 4 here. There, Antoine. Missing pipe during the meeting. Antoine, you are doing changes during the meeting? And there was a soccer game also at the same time. How do you do that? Then Fluid.Core 2009 and then 2010. I check what's new there later. I know one fix. Okay, let's just check the fixing, because I'm trying to be super thorough in the release process now so that we know exactly what's new. So it's easy to just go there. So fix cycle tag support for an expressionless group. The cycle tag was half implemented apparently. So you could say cycle and a string, but you could not say anything else. And you can put any value or variable to define groups. This has been fixed. The JSON filter is a change from Dean now ignores all the properties that are not registered. So you can't dump a document that you will not have access to. So it's responding to all the configuration with the properties you allowed to. New parallel version and fixing support for new lines as keyword separator. Okay, just fixing parallel. So 209 is not really important, just 210, which has some fixes. Oh, also interesting. I updated the benchmark there. Take 1 second. I added the handlebars benchmark. Handlebars is very similar to Liquid. I think we used it at some point, maybe before that Liquid. But super limited. The nice thing with handlebars is the handlebars.net library is actually compiling the templates. So when it says parse, it's actually parsing a template and compiling it. So it's not just a syntax tree describing all the statements. It's some .NET IL code that is generated, and I just have to run every time. That's why the parsing phase is much slower than everything else, because it's also compiling. And that's something that you could see also with Razor, for instance. Razor will compile the template into some .NET code. So that's why it's slow. But then the goal of that is that when it's rendering, it's faster. So Razor is faster, but in this case, it's still not. It's still faster than most of them, but still not faster than Fluid, which is not compiled. Just saying that I wanted to know how much compilation in this case will improve, and even spending the time on compiling won't help on the perf of rendering. It might be similar, okay, like 10%, but allocations, for instance, is twice as high, knowing that that is actually most of the actual end result of the rendering, the string that is generated. So you can't go much below that. So just saying that fast. Azure.Storage.Blobs update. Okay. Negative RoleConditionEvaluator. Oh. Negate operator with a new interface. Interesting. So a new interface to say what? String not equal operator, string not starts with operator. String that contains. What are these? Function rules.
So the particular change there is that you see in the second evaluation we were using any on the claims, which is a good way to evaluate things if you're looking for equals. But when you're looking for something that doesn't look for equals but looks for the opposite, you need to evaluate with all. So it's just a
why isn't there? Oh, it's a return. There is no else. It's a return. Okay. I was writing some code this morning, and I was wondering if I should do an if return or if else, and then return something. So in this case, like save the value of the result and then do one return. Which one would be confusing? But here, see what I mean? Like if you don't see the return, you might think that it will still go there, but no, there is a return, so it's breaking the flow. Here it's obvious is the single statement, but when you have multiple statements, you might miss that. This loop here, well, this code might never be reached. Okay, so I understand there. So all instead of any when it's a negate operator. So okay, implementation detail about how to handle what to do when you have that with these kinds of operators. Okay. Arno Royston. Oh, friend of Jean-Philippe. So make permission name and ImpliedBy properties immutable. I quickly went over the PR. Didn't see anything weird. I think there is another one after. That's the one I looked into. It's not merged to change. Oh, to change something with claims. Okay, claim types. Okay, different than that. This one is making it immutable. mkdoc remove menu style. Okay. Console.log recursivity by using the updated. No. Serialize. So what was the goal there? Recursivity, fixing the recursivity. So it is recursive and it works well now.
There was a couple of types of shapes, like menus and pages, where we put the parent shape onto the child shape as a reference back to it, and it was recursing at that point, which would just so you could Stack Overflow on it.
And it's also using the JSON filter from Fluid, such that it will respect all the properties that you enable in your models. Okay, validate content type and part names. Technical name is reserved for internal use. Is reserved content name, which is here. Okay, reserved names. Set, good, static, good. In your case, okay. Content item ID, blah, 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 because otherwise the conflicts between, yeah, okay, good. So did someone try to create parts or types called latest, modify etc, owner, author, probably?
Author seems to be the common one. I think Zoltan
Owner.
opened another issue about it, and we had lots of old ones. And author is not a particularly uncommon one to try and use, I think.
An ability to export templates as files. Export templates as files. Template deployment step. Export as files. Oh, the idea is that in the zip file, it's a file instead of being embedded in the JSON recipe.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Why?
Easier to read.
Okay.
So,
sure.
yeah.
It's like when you have a database, do you put the content of the file in a column, or do you use the feature for SQL Server that lets you, or even do you save it outside and just store reference in the database?
And it's easier when
Can you expand that window again for a second there, Seb?
Expand that window.
Yeah, stretch the window on the file names. There's a bad file name in there.
Oh, that.
One that says copy. I need to remove that.
Copy.
All templates, all admin templates, deployment, step view, model, space, copy. One line of one above the one you clicked on at the moment.
Yeah, copy.
That
one.
Made a copy pasted the file and you forgot to rename the file.
Oh, sorry.
You're
I
fired.
will fix that.
We don't want you anymore. on the
Easy,
project.
an easy fix.
I'll do it right now.
Wait.
I fixed
Let me
it
refresh.
today.
You see, I was about to refresh because
I did
Nice,
it
Antoine.
today.
Good.
Thank you.
And Antoine's way ahead of me.
Where was I?
You were up there.
This one. Okay, good. And it's a checkbox.
Yeah.
In a second. Is it by default?
Off by default because it was off before, I think.
Okay.
Makes it easier too when you want to
This is
put the
very hard.
templates into.
Should use path.combine. This will work, but it should be path.combine.
Okay.
And you can also combine. Can you combine? No, can't combine extensions, but yeah, you should use path.combine instead of that. Also because there could be some issues with the file with custom chars inside the template key, for instance. So I should need to validate it.
I took that from the when you translate.
Okay, fix it also. Or file an issue. New template. What is that? Content. Okay, this is the format inside the JSON recipe to point to a file saying extract the content from this file. It's the best thing ever. Beautiful. Template value on object. Okay, the JSON payload. Okay. Good. White space. Yeah, weird wording instead of inline. Okay. SEO. SEO. Thank you. Beautiful. It's better. Oh, admin menu missing prefix position and localization. Yeah, your big change you did a few months ago. Okay. Fix zstring usage in taxonomy filters. Okay, needs to be a new one here. Okay. RoleConditionEvaluator. Someone using the roles module and layers everywhere. Not all. Okay. RoleConditionEvaluator. cypress-commands. Remember when we added it? I remember Jean-Thierry, I think, made the fix because Jasmine found the reason. What was it? Oh, the name. Oh yeah, the name had a dash and then it failed because the name wasn't valid or something like that. Yeah, generating the name. And now what you say is get date, which is a number.
This one is just the output of the build. So I modified another file and I rebuilt, and it made that change in the dist.
Yeah, but well, okay, that's the same in the end, right?
Yeah, it was an old change that didn't get built before.
Ah, I see. Okay. Good.
So when I republished this one to NPM as well.
Okay. Good. Pin down for the docs, code analysis. code analysis. Oh, this is based on the tool you found, Antoine.
Yes.
Do you want to share the link about that? Because I don't think we mentioned that in this meeting. What's the name of the thing?
LGTM something.
LGTM, something like that. Yes, and then projects
Orchard CMS / Orchard.Core.
site looks good to me.com.
That's /g/p maybe.
Yeah.
Go back to the root and there is a search box.
So this site will go on GitHub and analyze the source of some random GitHub projects. And it's like static analysis of the code and finds potential issues like, oh, this variable is never used, or there you are throwing an exception where you should not, some things like this. Errors, warnings, and recommendations. We can filter by type.
Language.
C#. And then may not be executed depending on this condition here. So it looks at the code and finds some potential issues. And based on that, you fixed some things here, like this. Why you remove this code?
It's not used later in the method.
That's very bad.
It's okay.
So,
Kevin said that could be removed because OpenEdit was doing it as well.
Okay, but
we checked on that one.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Because you see what I see that is like, yeah, it's not used, but it doesn't mean that this code should not be invoked.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's null and and in this case, we want to say, no, it should not be null. It should exist. So what we do is you can use the underscore to say, ignore the result if it really wants to return the result, but you don't even have to store the result. And in this case, we will not have seen it and it will not have said it's an issue. But you say that it's fine to not check. Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, you never know what's happening behind that, because maybe just resetting to its own value will update some state internally. So, but I trust that it won't do anything in this case. So this is not used. This is not used. And this is not used. These ones are easy because if you remove a var and it still beans, it means, okay, we don't use it. Easy. Upgrade to Fluid. Dropdown focus during set. Oh, is it the issue I said I didn't like a few weeks, month, every time I go on the setup? That when you tab recipe button, it might not be that. Is it that? Yes, it's a recipe button. I need to try it. So when I do tab, and I go to the recipe, I select recipe, and I hit enter. It went back at the beginning.
Yes.
And now it's fixed?
Yes.
Okay, bonus. Bonus if when I go inside the drop-down and I go to the recipe, I don't have to hit enter, but I can just do tab. See what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if the drop-down...
I understand.
Yes,
because here, when I go, it doesn't work. Yeah, when I go down and with the arrows, I go there.
Yeah.
In the setup screen, I have to hit enter to select. I can't just do tab. Yeah, or even if tab was selecting a different thing, but the tab doesn't work anymore, and I'm confused. And nobody thinks that they can hit enter because that could also submit in some other things. So that's, but that thing is already super nice because that was bothering me and also everyone who is using the keyboard and can't click on the mouse. Packages, dependencies, support multiple translation providers. Support multiple. Okay, I'm not owing that much. Okay, so multiple translation provider, like database plus file system.
Mm-hmm.
Translation provider. Okay, if that's it, that's fine.
Actually, it's useful for the data localization PR that Isham did.
Exactly, that's what I. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
because
what I was,
it's because
database
it's not,
plus file. Okay,
it's not merging the translation from both in the same provider. So.
That's good. Awesome. You can return photos. Janice, is that a Greek name? We don't know today. Cypress update, rename file, doc comments, open ID, date, start bootstrap. Oh, you merged this one. Okay, so new start bootstrap coming soon version. Less files plus new files, but less. .NET 5.06 and just in fixing image shop library that fixes 2 issues, right, Dean?
Yeah, so James just did that this afternoon, released it this afternoon, and I think Mario, not sure of his surname, tested the fixes that I put in last week and confirmed that so it was the memory leak was one of the big ones. It wasn't necessarily so much a leak because it would eventually recover, but a stream wasn't being disposed properly, so it was taking a lot longer to collect it. And another issue with, what was it?
It's much slower now.
Multiple. Sorry?
Now it's much slower because it actually returns the file.
Yeah, that other issue where it wasn't returning the file. I made it really fast by just not actually sending the file back all the time, which it turns out is a really good way to get high performance figures. Unfortunately, people then actually report that it didn't actually return the file. So I made it a bit slower, and you now get all your files.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's it. Questions? Comments? So here, branding. Let's go on the issue talking about branding. I thought it was done, but no, it's never done. Branding is never done because once we have a logo and colors and everything, we'll start working on the next one. Issues. So from what I saw from the discussion is Paris, where is it? Did I paste? I thought I pasted the results. Yeah, I pasted the result and then Paris shared this PDF. Oh, that's the one here. Okay, and I think we saw that last week. Okay, with how it would look like before generating all the necessary files. Blah, blah, blah. And then Oliver, whom I don't know. Who is Oliver?
Oliver is from Lombik.
Oh, so many people in Lombik, I can't keep track. It's crazy. It doesn't even have a fork of Orchard. But he has a fork of mini-blog. What? Oliver? Failed. Okay, so Oliver is from Lombik. Okay, thank you. Paris, blah, blah. Oliver doesn't like the font family. So he's suggesting another font. I think this one, instead of the one that was selected. But there were two choices. And then Oliver decided, oh, what is that? Is he using a different font? Yeah. Everything looks nice, right? And then Oliver put up a survey. I voted this morning. If you can vote, with different fonts. So it's weird because in this section here, you can select multiple choices, the ones you like or you are favorable with. And then here you select one. If you had to pick one, which one would it be? Okay. I can understand the voting principle here, mechanism. So go on this URL and vote for the font that you prefer. Overall, look kind of similar, this one. So yeah, please vote, assuming that all these fonts are free of usage. I won't tell you which one I selected, but it's the best, I can tell you. So I will copy link in the notes. We paste it there for all the lazy ones. Yeah, you see the lazy ones. Just once. With love. What you do with love, right? We need lazy people to feel less lazy. That's good. Thank you for that. Then topics 1.0. Let's check 1.0 or anything has anyone has anything to say about that? I don't think there is anything to say.
Since we're only voting on fonts at this point, it might be nice if we asked them for the artwork so that we could start on a favicon and the like. It's just a thought, since we are also talking about getting a release out.
Yeah, please comment on that if you want. And share that. Do you want me to do that? Do I have any more power? Can you extract?
No, it's just literally a random thought that popped into my mind.
Yeah.
I will add a comment.
Yeah, we could start with that. I'm pretty sure we can. This thing is vectorized in the PDF. You see when I zoom? So when you open it, if you open it with Inkscape, for instance, I'm sure you can get the vectorized thing directly. Inkscape, the best open source vectorized editor. It's really amazing. Use it. Awesome. I used it for all the harvest branding, logos and everything on the shirts and everywhere. Super nice. But yeah, I'm sure it's, you see it's vectorized, so you open that in an editor and you get everything directly, colors and everything. Good. What else? I wanted to go on issues. Milestones 1.0. This one is fixed. Oh, is it related? Nah.
I reopened it. Can you just move it across to 1.0 because it's the first thing that you asked about that I wanted to keep it open for.
So what do you want me to do?
I'll just move it to. It doesn't need to be a 1.0 milestone anymore.
Okay. That's easy. Thank you. Branding migration is always tested and approved. That's good. I think there is only the what's the name? The PR. Oh, what's the audit trail? I think that still needs to be looked at. Any big change that we would like to do before? I don't think so. That will be breaking later. This one should. What's blocking that, Antoine? Because I saw you approved, you merged one of them.
I expect some reviews.
You can expect.
Just suggested to do the same that I did for the comic soon, to move from the road to an assets folder.
I didn't see that, but I trust you. You know best. Thank you for not making it dynamic. This was an issue by the past.
Start with that, made it dynamic.
What? No, don't do that. Okay, follow your heart and Jasmine's advice, as long as you agree with it. It's not too much work. You know better than anyone the history and constraints about all these things, as long as it works. Bootstrap 5. Wow. Until beta. Oh no, it's released now.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, I don't think we can go there, can we? Too many changes. It has to be a bigger release. And because it's super new, there will be bugs. So is there any super important feature that we will use there?
No.
Like RTL or, but we already support that. So yeah, I think it will have to be in a kind of a major release.
Does it come with dark mode, Jasmine?
Yeah, I think it's something like this that gives you.
Oh no, it's Bootstrap 6.0 dark mode.
What? It dropped everyone. Oh, no more jQuery. Interesting. That's a big change. That's us, Dean's favorite project.
It's the best.
It's the only one. So yeah, the fact that it's stripping jQuery is interesting. But we are using it, so we will still require that, I'm sure. But yeah, it might also open up to also removing it if not necessary. In most pages, at least. You have to see. Yeah, I will not take that now. It's too many things on the admin.
And there are a few features that are not working, like the media, add a media file, because they also changed the model.
I see. You see, there are too many things we can't. Yeah, okay, later. But that's good to know what's blocking and what work needs to be done. So that's good. But definitely not 1.0. Still not merged. It's documentation. It can just be better, right? Or
Yeah, I got
people
no
don't
issue with it being merged. Made a couple of suggestions, but we haven't heard from him in a while, so maybe he's busy with something else at the moment.
Yeah, that's good.
Better to get it in and not.
So when you agree with Zoltan, merge it. Oh, this one is interesting. This one is interesting. Did we talk about it during last triage, about the changes? Or maybe there was no change during last triage. So I think last week we mentioned there was an issue with security. And then Gabor, what's his name?
Oh, I don't know exactly.
What did you say?
I don't know exactly.
Okay, Spike. He's working for Lombic, right?
No, he's not.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I thought so because Zoltan was pushing for that. Interesting. Look.
Yeah, Zoltan helped him to implement this PR.
Okay, and is that working for Lombic? Okay. Well, so there was a security issue, and then big refactoring, and it's no more serializing all the rules client side and sending them to the server side, which was the big security issue. Like you could send to the server what were the validation rules. So what's the point of server-side validation if it's sent by the client? But now this change, the change that was applied, is to actually do all the client-side validation on the server. And now I'm confused again because technically it works. It's like, what? Okay. Change. Key press. Yeah, here. You see, for each, so this is a JavaScript client-side script, and for each element of the form, whenever there is a key, press, keystroke, it's sending the event, which will send the value. And I'm not sure if it's sending the full form or just the form element. It looks like it's, you see, so there's form 5 submit button, okay, submit button. Where is it getting the content item ID validation element ID? So it's sending what is the content item, that the form that is being edited, the element that is being validated. But I think it's sending the form to a custom controller every time you hit a key. And then on the server side, it will validate using server-side validation rules the form itself or the value that you want to validate, and send back the validation result to the client to display the error. So I'm worried about two things, because here every click or every keystroke you send maybe the form on the server, and it's server-side validation. It's just you see that it displayed before you submit the form, but you actually send the form. So that's weird. This is the controller that does it. And you see here, it's getting the form name and the form value. Every form field will request that the API. before client form submit. So is client-side validation useful when it's done on the server side? What's the point of client-side validation? Because in this case, is the goal just to have an information before you submit the form? Or is it to prevent some server-side communication? Jean-Philippe.
Yeah, I mean, for a large part, the validating a form client-side is about making the UI a lot more friendlier to the person filling it in, because they don't have to fill the whole form in and submit it and then discover that the first field they put in was wrong.
Okay.
But
so that is sort of.
So, you know, it's a very valuable thing to have. But you always have to server-side validate again afterwards
Yes.
to make sure things are actually correct. I'm surprised to see this change to do it that way, because the rules that were originally in this system were based on the JavaScript rules.
Yes,
from
it's
a
not using
JavaScript
it
client.
anymore. Yeah, it's not using the
now
JavaScript.
it's not using it anymore. So I don't. It's a bit confusing. I think maybe it's gone a little bit too the other way. Because really, if you're doing this, you do want to have both, don't you? You want the client side, and then you want it backed up by the server.
As long as it's solving the issue, which is, as you said, tell me what's wrong before I submit the full form. That's good. I assume usually they do it client side because they want to prevent the chattiness of the communication with the server. Like every time you type something, it will send. And I don't have the answer to that. Either the full form or just the field that you changed. But I don't know how they will do that, how they will pick just the field that was changed and how it will be able to validate it on the server side without the full form. And so that might be a perf issue. And that's why you did it on the client side, because there is no traffic to exchange with the server, which might be far away or lots of latency. So that's kind of worrying in this case.
Yeah, that's an awful lot to do backwards and forwards between the server just to follow the form.
If it's sending the form, it's a big issue if you have like files or blobs, big stuff, because you can't do that then. You can't send. Yeah, so I didn't get an answer for that. Validation event. Element ID. Okay. So this is getting the submit button from the form. Validation API. Elements, element value. Okay, element value. So it's just, okay, that's good. It's just getting the value of the form element. And this should be encoded, right?
It probably shouldn't be a query string at all. It should probably be a form post, because you're sending data there that will actually be captured by an IAS log. It may or may not have something, you know, if it had passwords or anything in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So just looking at that, it won't be a 1-0, but that's okay. Can always be added later. Shortcuts function buttons. One that will prevent some issues is the prevent double click on the buttons. We should take something, whatever it is, even if not fully, even if it doesn't support every button, at least we should merge that. Was it merged? I didn't see that merge, but I know there is a PR for that. Yep, that's it. Great. New theme and audit trail, see update, and then ship. Questions? Topics, comments? Anything? All good? New sites? Yeah, it's a new site. No new site. Okay, well, that's it then. Thursday meeting, next Tuesday also change. So thanks everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.